Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, March 20th. And for those of you keeping track, yesterday I wasn't wearing a coat at all because it was like 50 when I left work or left home. Today I have my big coat back on and my stocking cap that my wife crocheted for me. So again, fluctuation in temperatures this time of year is pretty crazy sometimes. Which definitely makes it hard for farmers in this area to plan their planting and all of that stuff to make sure they get things out soon enough, yet late enough that we're not worried about things freezing. But so yesterday I had spoke about, I'd mentioned being a little short-handed in my team, but I was on my way to work yesterday. I was okay with that because I had some backup. I was going to help out, and well, I get to work yesterday, and evidently, due to at least a small round of influenza B, I'm not sure what that's different from influenza A, but it was going through some of my group, my team, and so the one backup I had was out yesterday, and the other one had to go do some training. Had to be a trainer. Had to go train some people. So, needless to say, I was even more short-handed than I had expected. Which, I work someplace that I get paid, in my opinion, very well for what I do. None of the positions that I've worked require any sort of college degree or any sort of advanced training or anything like that. And around here, to get a job that pays as well as we do, I don't know. I don't get all of the complainers, I guess. So, I have a lot of people at our work, and it's everywhere I've worked. There's always somebody that's got to complain about something. And at times, our job can be challenging, but, I suppose if you want a job that's not challenging in some way, I'm sure there's some minimum wage job out there that you can go to that doesn't have any challenge to it, but, I'm sure they'd complain about that too, but I don't know. I never found the benefit in being a complainer. Granted, if I probably went to my boss today and said, hey, yesterday was rough, I don't know if I can do that same thing again today. I'm sure she'd do everything she can to get me some help and all that stuff. And it wasn't like I was without any help yesterday. I had there was still a couple people that were able to help out, but from about 2:30 on, I was on my own for the rest of the day. So 2:30 to 7. Typically, that wouldn't be a big deal, but yesterday seemed to be a little bit extra busy, and being short-handed, all that being a combination that was made things a little busier. But anyway, I'm sure if I went and said something, my team manager would do what she could to help out. But I guess someone in my position, you don't get here without being able to juggle a few things, and that's what I'm doing. But I don't know. I don't get all the people, all the complainers out there. Our job's pretty cushy where I work. There's no physical labor in it. Nothing like that. It is customer service, and anytime you work with customers in customer service, you can get some people that can be snotty. But I don't know. I guess in general, I've not ever been a real big complainer. I don't say that to pat myself on the back or anything. It's just my personality. Just like I'm not someone that's typically a worrier either. So I don't know. It's just the way God wired me, I guess. I wasn't always that way. In fact, all the way up until probably between my freshman and sophomore year in college, somewhere in there, things just clicked for me. I did find Christ in my first year of college. I decided to finally get an actual personal relationship with Christ, and pursue him as in that regard. Before that, I had a head knowledge of him, but never really what would I call myself a follower of Christ. And but I fully accepted Christ as my Savior that year and accepted His gift. And from then on, it's nothing that I do or any actions I've done that that's it has that relationship. It's all on God. But that could be very well what changed my attitude about things was soon after that things just didn't bother me like they used to. I've kind of taken on a philosophy of things. So if there's something in my life that would normally give someone anxiety, the way I look at things is I take this particular situation, whatever it is, however big or small the situation may be, and I ask myself, okay, this particular situation, is it something at all within my control? Is there anything I can do about this situation that I'm in? And a lot of situations that we're in our lives, there's nothing we can do about it. It's not any cause or whatever to our own. So, for example, let's say like yesterday, we were shorthanded. Was that my fault? Was there anything I could do to make us not shorthanded? No. So in those particular situations, I'm like, if there's nothing I can do to change the situation I'm in, I'm just going to push through it. I'm not going to let it worry me. Or, let's say, for example, yesterday, it's like, okay, well, the fact that we're shorthanded is not in my control. I'm putting all that in God's hands, let Him take care of it. But we can go to the extreme the other direction too. So, for example, sorry about that. I didn't realize I still had that fan on. That was a little annoying. I do apologize. But we take things in the complete other direction too, and be like, okay, well, there's everything's in God's hands. I'm gonna sit back and do nothing. I think at times God calls us to action and in different situations. And again, let's go back to yesterday. So I could just throw my hands up and be like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna do the bare minimum I have to get by, and if even that, and I'm not gonna worry about it. Which great. I'm glad you're not gonna worry about it. But at the same time, it's like, okay, what things are in my control? I can work hard today. I can push hard. I can work harder than I would normally have to. It'd be different if the situation I'm in was long term. We're shorthanded, but that's going to be over soon because there's people going to be, for example, my buddy who's out for back surgery, he's going to be back, and then we won't be shorthanded anymore. And one of the other gentlemen that's on my team, I was told his schedule's going to change. So his schedule will be a little later in the day, so it'll make it easier for for things to be covered. So, it's first of all, it's a temporary situation. If it was a permanent thing, then of course I may go to my boss and like, hey, the load that I have I don't think it's something I can sustain on a long term. But it's not going to be like that, first of all, and so it's temporary. And if it was long term, I would go say something, and I'm sure they'd do something about it. So anyway, I could have just sat back and did nothing yesterday, or did the very bare minimum, and pushed on and let things slide. But instead, I'm like, you know what? Well, the things that are in my control is I can work a little harder than normal. I can push a little harder than normal. I may be a little more tired at the end of the day. All right, I'm just have to rest a little more when I get home. I stayed a little bit late last night after my shift to, for lack of a better term, put out a few fires that I wasn't able to take care of during the day. And there was a few things that I had to be like, okay, I'm going to have to push this off to first thing today. And I left home a little earlier today in order to get to work to take care of some of those things. So, in any situation, there's going to be parts of it that are completely out of your control, and you're going to have to just put those in God's hands and trust He's going to take care of it. And then other parts that's like, okay, I may not have control over X or even X and Y, but you know what? I can handle Z. God's given me an ability to take care of Z. Or, if I typically have to handle Z, maybe today I have to do X and Z. It's a matter of, okay, if there's something I can have control over, jump in and do it. Sitting and complaining about it and all of that, it's not going to help anything. It's going to bring down your morale. It's going to, there's no positive benefit to sitting there and having a pity party. Even if it is hard, a pity party is just going to make things worse. I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking about our kids, and we tell them to do something, and they sit there and complain for 10 minutes, go on and on for 10 minutes about something that we asked them to do that would have taken them 2. But again, I look back, I did the same thing when I was a kid, so I realize in that regard, it's a matter of, they don't really understand that maybe. Their maturity isn't at a level where they can understand that, but about adults. I work with all adults, or at least people as far as age is concerned, is adults, so. But, I'm not going to sit and complain about yesterday. I'm going to move on. I'm going to press through. And, today I'm just going to, since I know going into it that what situation I'm in, I'm going to try to go into it a little more prepared than I was yesterday and make sure I can try to hit everything along the way that needs to be taken care of and get things done, Move on to the next day. I don't know. I know I rambled on for 10 minutes about this subject, but I don't know. And I realize me sitting here saying all this is not, somebody looking is like, I can't do that. Well, that may be the case. I've been fortunate enough that God has given me that ability. I don't know. I can't. People ask me, how do I do it? I try to look back on when it all changed and what was the difference, and I can't put a pin in an exact moment or event that to say, okay, well, this is what changed that. Besides the fact that I got Christ in my life, but I talk to other Christians who have an obvious relationship with God and go through their life with an obvious relationship with God. So I'm not going to sit here and say, well, that's the end-all be-all answer, because there's a lot of godly people out there that still struggle with the same thing. But I don't know. There are things, I guess, I have to be honest, that there are things that concern me, whenever that at times will concern me more than others. But on the grand scheme, they're very few and far between, because at the end of the day, does it all really matter? You go to work, you do your job. Before I got into the position I am, my previous manager, we'd sit down for our periodic review and discuss my progress and how I was doing things, and it seemed to always be glowing. And I told him, I was like, I don't know. I'm not doing anything special. I come to work, I do my job, and I go home. There's nothing grand about what I was doing, and evidently, supposedly, I was doing so much better than the rest of my team. I don't know. I could tell him, I said, I'm not doing anything special. I come in, I do what I'm told, and I go home. And he's like, well, that's more than we have for most people. And I don't know. I don't get it. But, I was also talking about, people on my team don't have as much of, that problem. Granted, even on my own team, I hear a lot of complaining, but, you don't get advancements in the company if you don't have the right attitude, I suppose. So anyway, enough rambling and ranting about complaining at work, but I just was stemming off of yesterday, and I got home last night. I told my wife, walked this, and my brain is exhausted. It's Swiss cheese, so hopefully you don't have anything that requires much thought. I am not going to do any decision making tonight because my brain is in no condition to do so. But yeah, I really didn't do anything productive last night. I came home from work, I relaxed, and I went to bed. And that's okay. You know, that's part of being we got jobs. Our jobs take a lot out of us, and I don't know. So, yeah, that was my day yesterday. I'm not going to sit and dwell on it and complain about it, but I'm just going to move on. Do better today. Be a little more organized, maybe. Anyway, I want to wrap this up. I appreciate you guys listening. I know that my ramblings are not for everyone, so I do appreciate it. If you like this, go ahead and give me a like, subscribe, set the notifications so you know when new ones happen. You know, the whole spiel. If you've been watching YouTube very long, you know what to do. Anyway, I will talk to you guys tomorrow, and hopefully it won't be quite as cold tomorrow as it was today. Anyway, you guys take care. Bye.